Welcome to PlayStation Unchained Tournament of the Overrated Part 3? Is it 4? I fuck knows, it's one of them. It's the round of 32 now. We've had that very lengthy round of 64, which means, yes, 16 matches, 32 games left to decide what is the most overrated PlayStation game of all time. A lot escaped, of course, in that first round, including such luminaries as The Walking Dead, GTA Vice City, Metal Gear Solid 2. You know, just probably would have angered a lot of people, but it did come up against GTA 5. And stuff like Overwatch also got away with it. MGS4. I think in the end, Metal Gear Solid fully escaped this tournament in the first round. So no Metal Gear Solid game is overrated, I think. So there you go. That's that. Right, we are doing a similar system to last time. It's just a smaller groups, obviously, but still groups of 8, but just the 4 groups to pick from. But we'll get to that in a minute. First, I will introduce who is here. I am, of course, your host, Neil Volt. I'm terrible at introducing myself, but normally you just hear my voice on this channel all the time anyway, when it's not anime. So you're going to assume it's me. Or wrestling, to be fair, because Garri normally does that one. Garri, you're here. Garri,
I'm here. Joy to the world.
The newborn, whatever you are. So you're here. Chris DeVisso is here.
Indeed I am. It's good to be back.
Excellent. And, of course, we couldn't do a podcast on this network without Ben Chille.
Because I have to press the record button.
Well, I'm trying to do the same thing and hoping that it works, but never know.
You know, we wouldn't trust that responsibility to anybody else, Ben.
Yeah.
Once you found someone, they'll be gone. It'd be like, we don't need you now. We've got someone else who press the record button.
In fairness, Ben, I could easily do it if I put my mind to it, but I don't. So it's just that we like having you around. So, reasons to be cheerful, as they say. Right, so yes, as I said, 4 groups, 8 games in each group, so that would be the selection process for this one. We will go in rotation from Garri, Ben, Chris, so Game Boy Color. Yeah, that's the way I remember. So, Garri, pick from groups 1 to 4.
3.
Group 3, now pick a number from 1 to 8.
8.
You have picked Persona 5. Persona 5, the first one out of the hat for this one. Ben.
This is going to be easy. 4.
4. And 1 to 8.
7.
Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So, it's an interesting little lineup. Chris, you have the pleasure of being the first votee on this one.
You're extremely right, Ben. This is going to be easy. Sorry, once again, as I have stated before, that I have not played the Persona games, so I can't speak to their level of fun. But I have played Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and still, in my opinion, it is the best Grand Theft Auto. As much as I love Vice City, like that's my favorite one, but San Andreas is I think the best Grand Theft Auto they've done. You can ride a bike. I mean, come on. You can ride a bicycle. Just tap X really fast and CJ starts like cycling as quick as he can. I mean, come on. It's perfect.
You can work out. You can ride a bike in radical heights. That doesn't mean it's a good game.
Well, we're not really. You're gonna throw Cliffy B in my face.
Hey, depending on when this goes up, Ben, people won't remember Radical Heights. So.
Wait, what's it? Radical Shites?
Yeah.
No, but it was. You could. It had daily life stuff in it. Not as much as Persona, obviously, but it had daily life stuff in it. You could go and eat a cheeseburger or eat 100 cheeseburgers and get really fucking fat, or you could work out and become super buff and like actually do more melee damage. There were like 3 different martial arts styles you could use. You beat the game 100%, do everything, and you get a fucking tank. spawning right outside your house. Like, it was just... I mean, there was enough silliness in there to make it fun, but there was also enough seriousness about it and about the gang wars of the 1990s, how Rockstar always does with their content. They make it silly and fun and ultraviolet, but ultra-violent. But
I was gonna say, why would they make it a shit Mila Jovovich movie?
Hey, I like that movie. Of course.
Sorry, I should just say categorically a Mila Jovovich movie.
I thought you said ultraviolet. Like, why is everything gonna be like purple?
That's one of the filters in the options you can turn on. No, but it was grounded in reality, and they took reference of these horrible the LA gang wars that were going on, and they used that as the backdrop for this story about a kid or a guy who grew up in this, is involved in this as much as he tried to get out. So it wasn't your standard, like, oh, mafia, bang, bang, whatever. It was the story of CJ basically being thrown back into this after he wanted to get out, and he didn't want to, but because of his mom dying and him having to find out who, killed her or how she got killed, and ultimately, finding out that he was betrayed by who were supposed to be his best friends. Like, there was enough depth there, but also enough of the goofy Grand Theft Auto, nonsense and radio show, the Sam Hauser radio programming that just made everything so perfect about it, and yeah, I mean, I think that's the best Grand Theft Auto, and the fact that it made it past the first one like that really still disappoints me, because I think it is such an exceptional game, even to this day, like with all the content that it had and the hours and hours of fun you could have with it. So.
I mean, like, one of my most burned-in gaming memories is, like, riding a helicopter into the sunset with Rod Stewart's Young Turks playing. I was like, I didn't care about Rod Stewart generally.
Yeah, dude.
That song is, like, one of my favorite songs ever because of that game.
Yes. Excellent soundtrack, too. And then the fact that they got Axl Rose to play one of the DJs on the old rock station, just like...
Yeah, it's like,
I just love that they got him to do that.
Work. Like...
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's my vote.
Cool. Garri.
I have to go with San Andreas on this one. Again, it's my least favorite one. I understand that it improved on every Grand Theft Auto before it, and is still remembered to this day for a lot of people as the best one. But to me, a lot of it just felt like tedious work. Go to the gym to get stronger. Ride a bike to build up your endurance. Sprint to build up your endurance. And yes, GTA does that now to a point, but it wasn't to that effect, in my opinion. I wasn't a fan of the setting. I wasn't a fan of the characters. It just wasn't for me. Whereas Persona 5, it's a JRPG, so I love those, if anybody knows me. And even though 5 isn't my favorite Persona game, I appreciated what it did, and it showed that you don't need to have this modernized action combat system. You can still have it turn-based and make it flashy and still succeed, and Persona 5 succeeded greatly where so many have failed before it.
Sure. So. Yeah. Understandable. Cool. So what a piece. Ben, deciding vote.
I'm sorry, Chris, but I'm going to have to go with Grand Theft Auto. Just because a lot of it's the same things as Garri. I loved San Andreas, though I must admit I did like the busy work stuff. But the busy work stuff is why I like Persona 5, because I felt like I was living a life in the game. I was going out getting food. I had schedules to keep, which I know it sounds weird, but most games with time limits I hate. But yet Persona 5, it felt perfectly done. So it's one of the only games where I don't mind that sort of thing. So yeah, and you talk about amazing soundtrack. Persona 5 has probably one of the best soundtrack. Even the main menu had an amazing soundtrack. Yeah, when you're saving your game, it had that jazzy sound. That was just the attention to detail to everything was just why I love Persona 5 so much.
Yeah, I mean, if you're having a soundtrack contest, blimey, yeah, that's two heavyweights. So without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, and you know, I can't, like I said, I haven't played Persona, but I really want to based on what you guys have told me about it already so far, and are repeating today. So, I mean, and it's obviously, I mean, it won some Game of the Year awards, so obviously it's got to be a good game, and the Persona series is really good. And like Garri, I love JRPGs, so it's definitely one that I'll have to check out.
I'd have to give it a try, trust me. I started with Golden, and I really enjoyed Golden, and then I went to 5, and yeah, 5 was just like Golden on steroids.
Nice. I mean, like, yeah, 4 Golden was like the last thing I played on the Vita before getting rid of it, and it was just great time, and just finished it pretty much in time to start reviewing Persona 5. It was just, yeah, lovely back-to-back that was. Cool. Right, so we're on to the next one. So, yeah, GTA San Andreas is through to the next round, 2-1. But, of course, you know, there's plenty of games still to go. Right, Chris, it's you.
Let's go with 1.
Yep.
And 6.
1 and 6. That is Uncharted 3.
Of course I would.
And what shall it face? We would then go to Garri.
2.
2.
And 2.
2-2.
Yeah, that's why I did it.
It's another Rockstar game. It's Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, buddy.
Damn it.
Oh, buddy. Oh, boy. Yeah, so Chris, you're up first here.
Sure, I picked. Shouldn't it be Ben?
Oh, sorry, Ben, yeah. I'm getting the order out of order. It's not Valor, it's Boy.
Even this one's a hard one for me, because as much as I loved Uncharted 3, and as much as I despise anything that Rockstar make, I might have to go with Uncharted 3. No, I'm going to go with Red Dead. Yeah, Red Dead.
Okay. Ooh, all right. No, changing your mind again?
No, I'm going with Red Dead. Yeah.
Fingers off the chess piece. Fingers off the chess piece. Gotta keep where you moved it.
Why are you going with that then, Ben?
I tried to. Well, Red Dead is one of the games I did try to get into more than GTA 5 and 4, because I just couldn't. Something about those two games I could not just. I don't know. 5 especially killed me. I just couldn't get gripped by it. But Red Dead, I did enjoy quite a bit of it, but at the same time, because it's just me. I can't say. I will always say all of Rockstar games are good. They're just not me games, because I can't stand open world games that much. Very rarely does an open world click for me. Like Horizon clicked and Infamous clicked, but that's pretty much the only open world games that I've really enjoyed this generation.
No God of War for you.
Yeah, I'm tempted to actually. Once I heard it was open world, I became more wary about it. If you listen to our podcast with Carl, it kind of soothed my issues a bit. With talking about how it's designed, but yeah, Red Dead was good, but Uncharted 3 was just took what was great about 2 and pushed it in other ways. Yeah, there were certain things that weren't as good, in my opinion, as 2. 2 is still the better Uncharted. But 3 is probably one of the best Uncharteds.
I mean, yeah, it shifts tone and has set pieces out of nowhere, but it is a really fun game, I would say.
And the multiplayer had the Machina mode, which was, again, I loved that, because I did some stuff with Filthy Eskimo, where we made like little spin-off videos on YouTube, when this Uncharted 3 was out, and that was fun. So, for my memories of Uncharted 3, that's why it's the better game. The only thing that was good about Red Dead was tying up people onto train tracks. That was fun. Then castling.
That says a lot about you. More than the game, I'd say.
Yeah, tie them on train tracks. Cool. Cackle to do it, and then let them free. Of course, you don't want to kill them.
Oh, sure, of course, yeah. Sorry, we know. Chris.
Yes, boy, I once again, I feel bad about this, but I have to say that Uncharted 3 is the more overrated one, because, man, Red Dead Redemption is another one of those games that's special. Like, I love Rockstar games. I have ever since Grand Theft Auto 2.
Came out.
And
to the choir.
Yeah, and it's just finally Grand Theft Auto in a Western setting. It had an excellent story. I mean, it gripped you. It did with John Marsden and finding out, because you're just I love how they just kind of throw you in and, all right, John's looking for this guy. Why? And then as the story unfolds more and more, and then you genuinely feel for him in a way, as a husband and father, I feel for him in a very strong way, similar to how I do for James in Silent Hill 2. Because once you're really there in that position, you can kind of see why he goes to the lengths that he goes to. So story-wise, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Yeah. And of course, what other game can I ride on mounted? I don't have the video anymore, unfortunately, so you'll have to take my word for it. Riding horseback and being able to knife an eagle flying through the air while I'm on horseback, like just happenstance randomly to see if I could, is just it has that.
Mine was more evil, supposedly. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can kill eagles in Far Cry 5 right now, so it's not like it's going out of style anytime soon. But yeah, no, wow. and I love the Uncharted series, and I hate to keep pushing them into the overrated category, but as we've discussed before, 3 was my least favorite of the series. And I don't know, if I have to pick between the two, I think Red Dead Redemption is the far better game that for both replayability and just general fun that I had with it. I played through Uncharted 3 once, and it was kind of, well, that's it. That's cool. It was fun. I had fun, and that's over. But I could still go back to Red Dead Redemption and then just start fucking around and having a grand old time tying people to train tracks.
Fair enough. Okay, so again, another final vote decider here. Garri, what are you going with?
I know what you're going to choose.
Do you?
I do.
No, actually, I'm going to go with Uncharted 3.
Wow.
I liked Red Dead Redemption. I do feel that it's very boring in its openness, and the Old West bores me to tears. But it was tremendous fun playing in co-op with you and my other friend Ed. We had a blast. I did like the story missions. I really enjoyed. It's all the other stuff I kind of didn't enjoy in the game. The shooting mechanics were great. Like you mentioned, the story of James and the tragedy that befalls him were very well done. Whereas Uncharted 3, again, fantastic, but as I mentioned before with it, I just felt like it just didn't do enough for the franchise. Even though it had in my opinion, the best villain of the original 3. To me, it just they tried to top what they did the second one, and it didn't always work out well for them.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So, Uncharted 3 joins GTA San Andreas in the next round with a 2-1 win. So, next up, Ben. Pick a 1 to 4. Ben?
4.
4. The God of Thunder. Anything but 7, basically.
And a 1.
And a 2. And a 3. 4. Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing, damn it.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 9 will be our winner. So, Chris, who will it face?
Let's go with 2.
Yeah. Anything but number 2?
4.
Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Interesting, say the least. Garri, you will open the voting here.
Why me? Final Fantasy IX. Call of Duty. Wait, it was Modern Warfare or Modern Warfare 2?
Modern Warfare.
Okay, yeah. Modern Warfare changed multiplayer shooters completely. It's essentially what Overwatch did for its genre and what PUBG did for Battle Royale at this point. Modern Warfare was the game that everybody really... It's one of those games that people bought a console for. And you saw that clearly with at least the Xbox 360 when it came out. And the fact that that game is still being played to this day, packed with players. There's a lot of cheaters now, sure, but they re-released it. It's not as good, but it really changed a lot for at least the multiplayer industry. Single player as well was very well done. Still some of the most memorable single player missions. The nuke going off in the city, and then the Chernobyl mission, again, fantastic. Pierce became a staple character in the franchise, even going forward, where he appeared in other games in the franchise as well. Mm-hmm. And to me, Modern Warfare really set the standard that a lot of multiplayer shooters follow to this day, and it forced a lot of them to change the way they think. Whereas Final Fantasy IX, enjoyed it, but again, characters not my favorite. Music not the best in Final Fantasy in my opinion. They really didn't change anything, and they didn't really try to improve a lot of the formula. Like in 7, they had the materia system. In 8, they had the magic system, which was very different. It was items instead of actual mana points that you would use. And 9 really didn't do anything great to move the franchise forward. It was more like, okay, let's make a game set in a fantasy setting like we used to with Final Fantasy, and hope people enjoy it. And it was enjoyable, but it just wasn't memorable to me.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair enough. Cool. Okay, Ben.
I'm going to have to go with Fantasy 9 as my overrated game.
Okay.
As much as I dislike the Call of Duty indie franchise, franchise. I mean, every year people are shocked there's a new game, so it's got must not have that much of a budget.
I love it.
The Call of Duty brought so much to the table that affects even nowadays with the multiplayer, and it pretty much made it was like one of the steps that made multiplayer more mainstream. Because I would say GoldenEye was like the first sort of mainstream multiplayer that you played with your friends. Then you got your Halo, which pushed it even further, and then the Call of Duty just sort of made it explode.
I mean, two of the games you just mentioned made me think, it certainly pushed shooters into the bin, that's for sure.
I'm talking Halo 1. Halo 1 was amazing when it came out.
No, that was definitely the one I was thinking of.
Yep.
But yeah, and Call of Duty just made the franchise, made that sort of genre big, in my opinion. Even if it did hurt the company by doing it, because of the fact that they then had the idea of milking every franchise even more because of it.
I think that's probably more of an Activision low self-esteem or something. I don't know what it is. It makes them act like they do.
Yeah, but they saw that, and that's what, in my opinion, that's one of the reasons what caused it. Just because they saw how... And then everyone tried to be the new Call of Duty. I got sick of that.
Yeah, which is a problem in all media when the big thing comes in and everyone tries to be the big thing, and it's forget that the audience is already catered to for a large degree. So do something different, and people might go to that. Hence why, eventually something different breaks the cycle.
Yeah. But Fantasy 9, as much as I loved it, I loved some of the characters in. Not all the characters, some of them were really bad. I did enjoy Vivi and Quina. They were my two favourite characters of all time. But it had its problems. The open world was messy. The frame rate was horrendous. I know that sounds weird talking about turn-based gaming, saying the frame rate was horrendous, but it was just that bad.
You could see it.
You could. It was not just see it. You could feel it when in your selecting your options in the turn-based. Yeah, I mean, once you've got frame rate so bad that you have trouble clicking stuff in a turn-based game, that's when you know you've got a bit of a problem.
Yep.
And the story wasn't as great as 7 or 8 in my opinion, but it was much better than 10. But that's just me.
Fair enough.
But yeah, 9 was overrated just because it got unlucky to be paired against this game, really.
Okay, it's a surprise. I'll say that this is going the way it is, but all the same, we have to keep going. So, Chris, you still got to add your vote, regardless.
Yeah, I'm really getting sad that Fate is making me vote against my favorite Final Fantasy character twice now, because I love Freya. I think she's the best character that Final Fantasy has introduced because of her past, where she's come from and what she's searching for. She's my favorite. Yeah. But aside from other obvious things that you guys know about, but it's which has now become a running joke apparently. but no, I feel bad for voting against it but I agree with Garri and Ben on both counts. I think that it wasn't as impactful as 7 or 8 was. That the system, they didn't really do much to update it besides giving us a new story, which wasn't really that memorable. And I just don't think it had anywhere near the impact that Modern Warfare had. It's just, and it's been stated already what that's all been. And as I've said before, it's the first game that that really got me into online multiplayer, like first-person shooter multiplayer, deathmatch, team deathmatch, domination. Like, it's still one that I can go back into and pick up and play and have fun running around with a sniper rifle, like you do in an actual war, So unfortunately, I've got to once again push my favorite character forward.
Okay, so shockingly, Final Fantasy IX wins 3-0. I said earlier there were no Metal Gear Solid games in this. I realised there is one, of course, because of course there was, which is 5. So that's somewhere in there. Anyway, back on Garri. It is your pick.
1.
Group 1, all but 6.
8.
8 is the game that garnered the most votes for it in the last round, because I voted as well. Fallout 3. Which,
oh, good, we've won. Let's skip this one now.
Oh my word! When paired against Metal Gear Solid, that was the problem it had last time. To be fair, Ben.
3.
Okay.
All
but 8.
What's that?
All but 8.
7.
Burnout 3. Okay. So, Chris.
This is surprisingly easy for me, but I think, but just because I'm much to the chagrin of I know Garri, which seems to be a mission of mine in life.
If you're going to go against anyone in life, Garri's the one.
I want that as a t-shirt.
So unfair.
I
don't deserve this.
I've got to. You so do. I've got to go with Burnout 3 is the more overrated one because I like. We didn't really talk too much about Fallout 3 before.
No, we didn't.
Obviously because of Metal Gear, but Fallout 3 was. If you remember at the time, Fallout 3 came out after Obsidian. Jesus Christ, Oblivion. And Oblivion was kind of already redefining the Western RPG, open world RPG.
Yeah,
and God damn it. And then so when we heard that Fallout 3 was coming out, was going to follow along those same lines, it was a big deal, and it released, and immediately I think everybody loved it. For kind of putting Fallout in this new light, because we already had two very, very classic isometric RPGs under our belts here. And when it goes first person, and you have a karma system, and you still have kind of all the unique dialogue options, and depending on how you build your character, it gave a lot more options to it. As glitchy as we know Bethesda games like that to be upon their initial release, I think it was one of the less glitchy ones, even though the errors that it had, the goofy physics things that it had, were fewer and far between than even now other Bethesda released open world RPGs. And I mean, it had awesome weapons, it had a great storyline, if you chose to follow it that far. It had some great DLC. Had some really good DLC, I thought. Particularly the what was the name of it? Where you went to like the Deliverance Island and had to fight Sloth guys. Yeah. I enjoyed that immensely. I think it was overall a very, very well done game, and I don't think it deserves a lot of the shit that it still gets from the hardcore Far Cry. Or Jesus Christ, I cannot string coherent sentences today. Fallout fans from before were like, oh, you got rid of this, and it's not this, and it's doing this, and it's just like, you can't... Okay, I get it. You're pissed that they changed. But, so instead of bitching, maybe just try and appreciate it for what it is there. And, Mothership Zeta, blah, fuck you. That was a fun mission. It was fun getting abducted by aliens and taking over the ship. Fuck you. God damn it. I'm tired of hearing people bitching about Fallout. It fucking sucks now. No, it fucking doesn't. You just need to let go of your fucking pride and enjoy it for what it is. Fuck you. Sorry. And rant there. I'll just say, and Burnout 3, yeah, it was awesome, but I don't think Fallout deserves all the hate that it gets at all. And I think still the two Fallout games are better than Skyrim. No, 3 Fallout games. I will take Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and Fallout 4 any day of the week over Skyrim. And I played the shit out of Skyrim. So...
Well, let's put it this way. I was only able to finish one of them without the game literally locking me out. So, and Fallout 3 was already a hard game to love for me because, as I've pointed out many times on our podcast, that it's a game I had to buy repeatedly in the case of, well, I don't get it. Why don't I like it? And it took until after I'd finished Skyrim to actually click with it and understand it better. And of course, famously, I spent 60 hours in that, did some of the DLC stuff, that was great, and then I couldn't finish and mop up stuff because the game just refused to go any further than 60 hours in. And that was it. It was like, nope, we're going to crash every single time you load a game.
You didn't have 130 separate save files together like one of our other friends.
So
many separate save files.
It's like... I was so careful with Skyrim because I'd heard all problems on PS3, especially, and I made sure there was never a problem. And ironically, I never had the problems other people had. Here, it was like, okay, I'll make a bunch of saves anyway. I'll keep and no, none of them fucking worked. It's like, but it was better than New Vegas, which it was mere hours before I couldn't play it anymore. And then I tried playing it on PC, and that was minutes, so where I couldn't get it done. Fallout 4 is my favourite of those, just simply because I could finish it and played hundreds of hours of it without it being a problem.
By the way, while we're talking about Skyrim,
yeah,
I've been playing Skyrim in VR, and I must admit, in VR it is quite fun.
It's tempting. Had I got PSVR instead of a Nintendo Switch, and that was been my go-to thing.
I get very distracted by the fact that I've been streaming my playthrough of Skyrim VR. By the way, Chris has joined me a few times. Thanks for that, Chris.
Yep.
I get distracted by the fact that I have magic hands, and then start screaming the fact that I have magic hands, and then shooting fire into the sky.
I'm just glad you're able to enjoy it, Ben, without falling over and vomiting all over yourself like I unfortunately had to deal with. But that's a story for another time. I'll share someday.
I'd say I don't have that issue, but I have to take a break after a while because it's tiring for me. But yeah, I just get distracted and like I was following a guard and going, I'm going to pinch your butt, I'm going to pinch your butt, I'm going to pinch your butt, and then ran off like a schoolgirl.
Yeah, that pretty much sounds like that's probably what my wife would do, to be fair. So, yeah, I can see it. It's fine. Okay, let's carry on. Garri, you are next.
Fallout 3.
Oh, another one.
No problem for me there. Fallout. I enjoyed what Fallout did with the VAT system. And I wish they kind of carried it over to Skyrim in a way. It probably would have made it more enjoyable for me.
I mean, it didn't stop me hosting the podcast. I almost want to throw my laptop at you for that, but yeah, it's.
But yeah, everything else about it, it was boring, and the inventory cap and the interface strained my eyes all the time, just like 4 did. I got used to it, but yeah, compared to Burnout, Burnout set the precedent for one of the greatest arcade racing games ever in Paradise. But to me, Fallout just... Yeah, I'm sorry, Chris. I'm one of those where...
I know you are. I'm still friends with you.
I had to force myself to go and finish the story because I got so sick and tired of walking 10 feet and then being trapped by some dude asking for help. I just got sick and tired of it. I just want to finish the story. Go and die. I don't care.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
And the ending of the story was so underwhelming that I was like, why?
I do love how frugal they were with their use of Liam Neeson. It's just like, Liam Neeson's in this game. Oh, that'd be great to have him all the time. Yeah, 2 minutes at the beginning, 2 minutes at the end. The end.
Yeah, it's the same thing they did with Oblivion. Patrick Stewart, yeah.
It's like, hi, I'm Patrick Stewart. Now I'm dead.
Thanks for all your money.
Yes. Oh, damn it.
A few years down the line, they would have got more out of him as well. That's a stupid thing.
Mm-hmm.
He'll voice anything nowadays. He literally will voice poop. So,
yeah.
Ben,
are you really going to ask me?
Yeah, I am, because that's the way it works.
Fine. Fallout 3.
Fallout 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's just, the day I can run around screaming I've got magic hands in Fallout 3, then I'll be fine. Until then,
could happen still, but just not yet.
Ben, you have magic hands in the real world.
Well, hey.
Yeah.
Well, that was definitely not even slightly disturbing to hear. Chris, you get to, Fallout 3 wins 2-1. Yeah, that's a given. Chris, pick a number from 1 to 4.
I don't want to play anymore with you guys. Let's go with 4.
Yeah, which you can have anything but 1 or 7.
Let's go with 5.
5 is Chrono Cross.
Yes, more direction.
The glee in your voice.
Chris really doesn't want to play now.
I can't win today. It seems.
Garri, who is the opponent for Chrono Cross?
let's go with 4.
Yep. Which, of course, you can have 1, 5, or 7.
I can't have?
You cannot have.
Okay, let's go 3.
You can try, but they're gone. 3 is XCOM, Enemy Unknown.
Oh, well then.
Well then. And just know that I will be judging you very silently. Ben.
Because I know nothing about Chrono Cross at all, and only know a little bit about XCOM, I'm going to have to go with XCOM.
What, you're picking it? Are you remembering the rules right of this particular game?
Well, how can I call Chrono Cross overrated if I've never played it or really heard of it?
That's very
You
good.
didn't listen to me.
I mean, maybe it shouldn't count. You know, that might work better.
But I want to go with XCOM for this. Yeah, the reasons that you did before, where you said that you might have gone for XCOM if you had to between 2 certain games. I can't remember what one it was now.
Probably XCOM Enemy Unknown and XCOM Enemy Within.
But yeah, you know, actually, I'm going to pass on this unless it's a tie.
Okay, fair enough. That would mean it goes to Chris.
Contrary to what I'm sure Garri thinks that I would choose,
Uh-oh.
I'm going to have to go with Chrono Cross as being the more overrated of the two.
Conversion complete.
No, it's not that. I mean, it's pretty much like basically I can sum it up like this: XCOM is still going. The Chrono series is not, and it's just it's unfortunate because I think Chrono Cross is the one that killed it. As much as I do like the game, as I've talked about before, I just don't. You know, it's not around anymore. There's nothing else of it at all. People are even trying to remake, fan-made editions of Chrono Trigger, and it's just not happening. Like they keep getting
Square Enix.
yeah. Square Enix wants to keep that franchise dead, apparently. So and XCOM, XCOM 2 was fairly successful, I would say. And I mean, it's still apparently still going. Like, I don't know when we're gonna get an XCOM 3, but it's not as dead. It's not as dead as the Chrono series is, so that's why.
I mean, my favorite thing about XCOM as a series is that its last expansion pretty much got most of the cast of Star Trek: The Next Generation in to play with different characters, and it's just odd, but a very specific thing to do for that game. Okay, that leaves it to Garri, which should surely be no surprise.
Yeah, Chrono Cross is doo-doo.
It's not doo-doo. Damn it.
Is duty better?
Fucking hate you.
So, I think you were quite clear in reasoning before on that one. So.
Yep.
Chrono Cross is
too many characters, man.
Hey, Suikoden has 102 Stars of Destiny, 102 characters. That worked out well.
Oh my god.
They got 8 games in their franchise.
Yeah. Benjamin, 1 to 4.
4.
4. You can have 2, 4, 6, 8.
Who do we appreciate? 8.
8 is Okami. Okami, the game about a dog who is also a god. And who will join that? Well, let's find out, because Chris is picking the opponent.
Let's go with 1.
Group 1, anything but 6 or 8.
Let's go
because
with
we
5.
don't appreciate.
We don't appreciate 5.
No. 5. Well, I know which way one vote's going on this. It's Final Fantasy X. So, Garri, is the first vote here.
Man, why do I get the one where I don't like either one?
Garri, I'm going to slap the taste out of your mouth, man.
Seriously.
No, Final Fantasy X.
Okay.
It's severely overrated to me. For all the reasons I mentioned before. It took away the open world. The characters are probably worse than the ones in 7 or in 9. Even though I liked the sphere grid system, they kind of ruined it with the re-release and letting you get everybody's skills and go into other people's sphere grids. It really took away the individuality of the characters. But story-wise, didn't enjoy it very much. The locations I didn't really care for, especially the character designs. Everybody is wearing half a pant leg. I couldn't understand that whole thing.
It's like a Zack Ryder fan club convention.
It's like, oh, here's half a short, half a pant.
As much as I like Lulu, because she has 2 big reasons to like her. Her outfit always seemed
earrings.
Her outfit seemed a little bit weird for the island. I mean, did you get it custom made? What would that mean be like? By the way, I know everyone has these tribal outfits, but can I have this gothic look, please?
Sure,
that's the entire point of goth. It's a counterculture thing. That's why it fits.
And also, she breathes through.
Is there a hot topic on B-Set Island?
Oh my god! God damn it! Every goth who listens to this is gonna fucking slap you when they see you, Ben. God, hot topic. And really, have you not seen the South Park? I can't even do this. Oh my god!
You're playing dangerously, Ben. Living in Scotland.
I think you have a great point, Ben.
So,
but yeah,
Ben, So Ben, naturally from there we come to you. Having angered the corpse, can you anger Final Fantasy fans?
Damn right I will. Ha 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 to their face. I'm gonna go with Fantasy X as the most overrated game of Okami and Fantasy X. Because Okami, I'm not gonna talk about 10 because we all know why I don't like that. But Okami was it was unique. It was different. It had a good story. It had the cool melee. Even though I never finished Okami because it tired me. But the concept was great. The characters were fun, and the paint of the tail was really cool. It was a unique experience. Now constantly remastering it, that's another question. But.
One time it will sell, so that's the main thing. That's their thinking.
But yet the games that did sell don't get any remasters.
Sorry, how many times did they put Street Fighter 2 out?
How many times did they put out Onimusha? Let's be honest.
To be honest, how many times did they put out Point Blank? The best first-person sort of...
I think you're done now, Ben. Moving on.
Well, Point Blank was an amazing light gun game.
Okay.
Well, I think Deafening Silence has spoken for that opinion. It was alright, to be fair. Chris.
I don't know how much more you can make me hate Garri today. And then he turns around and I actually agree with him on something. I just don't know what to do. No, I mean, not that it matters now. I'm glad that Okami's not going through because it's a fantastic fucking game.
Yeah.
But Final Fantasy X, it's just it comes down to it's not one of the. Well, it's not even that. It's just that it's not even one of the best Final Fantasies either. I mean, they when it came out, I know there was a lot of buzz around. Hell, I was even like, oh yes, the new Final Fantasy, and look at the graphics, it looks amazing because we had just come from 9. But then it comes out and it's still fun. I had fun solving the puzzles in the ancient chambers where you have to light the lines and get the summons and all that shit. Like it had its fun moments.
That Shiva one though, I hated that one.
Yeah. But I liked the summons. There was a lot of stuff that I did like about it. I don't want to take away that it was a good Final Fantasy, but it wasn't.
It wasn't our fantasy.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just time and time again. I just think that I really think that Squeenix has lost their way somewhat with the Final Fantasy series, especially with 15 coming out.
You haven't played 14?
I have watched Garri play it several times, and I still want to get into it, but I do not want to get into it because I do not want to get into another MMO. So, yeah, long story short, Final Fantasy.
Cool. So, Fantasy 10, 3-0. Yeah, both Final Fantasies have been 3-0 rounds that are in this round. That's interesting considering the group we have, I have to say. Cool. So, Garri, you get the next pick for the 7th game. We've got 2 more to do today. So, go for it, Garri. Yeah, you want to pick 1 to 4 first.
Oh, okay, fine. 3.
3, of which you can have all but 7 and 8.
God damn it. I wanted an 8. 1.
1. We're going back to Fallout. It's Fallout 4.
Oh, even better.
Sweet. I don't even have to decide this one.
Well, you said that before, and you were right. Ben.
2.
2. You can have 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I want to go middle-ish because... No, 4.
Not 4. You can't have 4.
5.
GTA as Grand Theft Auto 5.
Okay.
Okay, interesting. Chris, you are up first.
God damn it.
And you're going to get trickier.
It really is. I just got to decide which one I hate slightly less. No, I mean that in the best way possible.
Oh yeah.
God damn, they're both like I said earlier. The new Fallout games get so much hate, and it's really not deserved.
It is.
But I mean, I can't argue I can't deny how Grand Theft Auto 5 was just like record books, breaking records, and it's now the most profitable franchise in fucking history. Like, up to this point, that's insane. Absolutely insane. But to me, that's the definition of overrated. I mean, it had cool characters. I love Trevor, as I said before. I think he's should be the Rockstar mascot, because he encompasses everything that is Rockstar and their game design. Just fucking outrageous, crazy, but there's a intelligence that you can't deny to it. And as much as I love Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto, I don't know. This one really hurts me. One really, really hurts me now. I'm second guessing myself.
Don't be.
Oh God, why are you doing, Garri? God damn it, Garri! I hate agreeing with you.
What? I hate agreeing with you.
I hate agreeing with you. Having just said that, I talked myself out of it. I've got to go with Fallout 4 as being the more overrated.
Okay.
I know it's hard to pull a switcheroo there, but I thought about it. I mean, there's definitely a reason why Grand Theft Auto 5 deserves the praise that it got, and Fallout 4 is still glitchy in areas, as you said earlier, Neil.
4 was the smoothest ride for me. It's like,
yeah, but I love 4. I really do love 4, which is why it hurts to say. But yeah, I've got to go.
Still one of my favorite games this generation.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say. But fair enough. Garri.
Fallout 4.
Okay. I don't need. Me and you. I think this was our first major disagreement as people. So
hey, I got stuck in a wall and I didn't want to go back 2 hours. So.
I understand in like an 8-hour game, but when it's like a 100-hour game, it just seems, yeah. It's I guess fair enough. Ben.
Just because it's not going to go through anyway, I'm going to go with Grand Theft Auto 5.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah, you mean Fallout could have won? God damn it!
Oh no! If Fallout got votes, then I would have voted Fallout. It was just because Grand Theft Auto got no votes.
Oh man! So Fallout 3 and 4 into the next round. Maybe they'll face each other, and then we'll have that internal conundrum.
I think I would just collapse on the floor, like drooling, with not being able to decide which one.
Venom stains.
I mean, yeah, the two GTA entries. There's only one going through, so that's not happening. So yeah, that'd be good. There's still a chance for serious clash, if you will. Cool. Chris, 1-4.
1-4.
For the final game of this podcast.
Garri's favorite age group.
Sorry, my microphone fell over.
How dare you, Chris? This is a prison sentence if people believe you.
I literally just yanked my microphone across the room.
All right, let's see. Let's go with 2.
Yeah, 1, 3, 6, 7, 8.
Are all taken or available?
They're available, sorry.
Because Garri wanted it last round, 8.
You bitch.
Well, that game is Dark Souls.
That's what you get.
Oh.
So, Garri, what is the opponent for Dark Souls?
1-1.
1-1. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
You're welcome, Chris.
Yes.
Ben, what have we got?
Because I know it's not going to go through, I'm going to go with Dark Souls.
Okay.
Um,
You might set a dangerous precedent there, but yeah.
I did mind Demon Souls. And Dark Souls was good, but as I said with the previous reason why I voted for it, the game is amazing. The fan base, not so well. Like I was reading on Reset Era for I can't remember, the remaster of Dark Souls, and some I don't know, just the way they react to certain news that I just.
Oh man! I tell you what, just on a weird side note here, but I saw earlier someone posted a thread going, "Could Fortnite be Game of the Year 2018?" Oh, okay, I can see why people might disagree with that. You know, it's an early access game last year, so technically it shouldn't count this year. But bloody hell, the lengths people go to jump through hoops to say, "Oh, it shouldn't win. It's too casual." And it's like, fucking, oh my god, it's just.
And then the developers were talking about, oh yeah, we were thinking about changing some stuff, but in the end we didn't. They're like, oh, thank God you didn't, because you know if it made it too easy, it'd be for the casual, and that's not what Dark Souls is about.
Oh, of course, yeah, because you know it takes away entirely from all the time you played that game where it was hard.
Yeah.
You know, oh fucking hell. Just,
oh, thank God you didn't do any changes to this port that's being made. That that you could have changed some things to fix it. No, don't change anything, because if you do, it might not make it super duper. My balls are hard.
Yeah, you know, if we ever are lacking for a podcast topic in the future, I think just skimming Reset Era threads is gold, because there's just so many awful opinions. Oh, I mean, like today you saw
to be
like.
Fair though, it came from Gaff, so.
Oh yeah, that's it. But the first few weeks of it were like, we're the high cultured version of Gaff. Weeks later, yeah, the rest of Gaff have turned up.
I'll never forget that image, by the way, of the where it's like Gaff talks about video games and they're all fighting in a mud pile. Gaff talks about porn and they're sat around in a circle, organised.
To you like a gentle sir.
Yeah.
To be fair though, Ben, to counter your point, the Dark Souls 3 subreddit, our Dark Souls 3, that is a welcoming bunch of motherfuckers. Those guys are some of the nicest. Like, they have fun with the memeing and the language of it. But goddamn, they're welcoming. They're always happy to help, unless you ask a really stupid question.
You're saying about Reddit, I don't believe that.
It's I'm surprised too. No, I am surprised too. But there are some very, very welcoming, helpful fan subreddits, and the Dark Souls 3 one is one of the nicest, most. But they're still welcoming people that are just barely getting into the franchise now and have finally like beaten the Nameless King in 3 and that. So
you know what? I think it's pretty much the same for 2, 3, and Bloodborne. Whereas even Demon Souls. It seems just to be exclusively Dark Souls, which is some sort of sacred cow. It seems where they're like, nobody can beat this game. That's
you say you want an easy mode, and suddenly, sacrilege.
I often just think of shit posting on Reset Era, just going, Dark Souls should have an easy mode because it's too shit otherwise, you know.
Really raised some hackles there.
But yeah, I believe Dark Souls should have an easy mode. But that's just me.
You just got me, my heckles up about forums. No, just wrong podcast for it.
Anyway, Dark Souls.
Yeah, Dark Souls. Chris.
So no, I am definitely not going to push Dark Souls through this round. I have to go for Modern Warfare 2 because, as I've said before, what the first Modern Warfare did for online play and getting everybody into really loving playing online multiplayer. The second one, I believe, was kind of forced the birth of the griefers and the annoying shit talkers on Xbox Live that are still, saying they fucked my mom and all that fun stuff. I mean, it didn't. You want to talk about fan bases that are really bad? Fuck, dude. Fuck. the guys who still play Modern Warfare on Live, I can't. Even my, as I mentioned before, my kids got really into that when they were. Years ago when that came out, and they got good at all of the the 360 no scoping and the quick scoping and all that. Yeah, the drop shots. Yeah, and it was.
See, it
was fun watching them play.
I know the slangs.
It was fun watching them play, but I have never heard the N-word used so many times in just one 30-minute session. It's just
wow.
I don't know. I do not like what the community that birthed that still hangs around more prominently in the shadows of our society at this point. And Dark Souls is I fucking love it. I love all those games. It hurt me immensely when I voted 2 of them through, I think last round. So no, I'm not going to do that again. Fuck Modern Warfare 2. No, not the most sound of reasoning, but just I'm going on opinion this time.
That's what it starts to become more and more as we get deeper into this. So that is Garri with the final vote of this episode.
Modern Warfare 2. Kind of easy for me. Even though it didn't start the genre, Dark Souls essentially made it popular. Whatever you want to call it nowadays, the Souls type game. Like Chris said, Modern Warfare 2 essentially took the greatness of the first one and did the opposite with the second one and just pissed people off, in my opinion, especially when it came to the multiplayer. And campaign-wise, wasn't it either. So, yeah.
Yeah, easy. Okay. So, yes, that's...
Thank you, Garri and Chris, for voting for the thing I thought you'd vote for.
Okay, so we're at the halfway stage of this round, which is a good place to wrap up this part. So, just to recap, GTA San Andreas, Uncharted 3, Final Fantasy 9, Fallout 3, Chrono Cross, Final Fantasy 10, Fallout 4, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 are all through to the next round. We've still got some interesting games coming, including another Souls game, as we mentioned earlier, and at least another Uncharted, and even a Kratos adventure is somewhere in there. So, thank you for listening. We've done shout-outs on our podcasts, but we'll still do it here, I suppose. Please do rate and subscribe, etc., on the apples. And...
not on actual apples, though, please, because that doesn't do anything.
Well, you can do that. It does.
Don't go to your local supermarket and go, this podcast told me to rate and subscribe, so I've drawn five stars on this random apple.
Tell you what, $10/pound voucher for anyone that does that and takes a photo and sends it to us at Pod Unchained on Twitter.
Pen or X-Acto knife or paintbrush, whatever you want, permanent marker.
Yeah. Yeah, you do that. Well, I will. I promise. £10/$10 voucher your way on PSN. So there you go.
You might want to set a limit on that.
To the first
one.
To the
first one. Yeah, the first one. I'm just judging by asking for questions in another podcast that we're probably not going to get many answers on that one. So we'll, it's hard enough to get people to answer questions. I'm not thinking they're really going to write on an Apple. So people have their limits, it seems. So yeah, Ben, you can do your shouty outies.
A shout out to Klaus at Phoenix Down Radio. Go check them out at phoenixdownradio.com. Shout out to Evolved Mail, aka your girlfriend's favourite streamer at twitch.tv/Evolved Mail. A shout out to Alfonso. A shout out to everyone that's listening. And a shout out to the hosts. You're awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, so too.
The ego is stroked once more.
Hey, it's been a rough week. I deserve it. Christopher.
Yes, shout out to our listeners and the fans of the podcast and the PSU site. If you want to get in touch with me, you can find me on Twitter at Devangel. That's DEVANGIEL. And be warned, there'll be weird stuff. And you can read all my news and articles on PSU.com. That's our official site. Christy Visser. Shout out to Alfonso. Shout out to Tim. Shout out to Kyle for his awesome God of War info on an earlier podcast. And shout out to my fellows here and hosts that have so graciously taken me under their wing and allowed me to have fun doing this. And to the family as well, the wife, kids, the mother, the sister, all that.
It is. I was about to start playing the music to sort of get you off stage there, but yeah, you did well.
I haven't mastered the fast talk where you can't really understand what the hell I'm saying like Ben, but I'm working on it.
Well, no, the problem with that was this time, especially, I wanted to sneeze so badly.
You'll note Ben misses words sometimes when he does that, though, on purpose. So, like, if he says Final Fantasy, he'll say fantasy. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's all in one breath.
By the way, can I just want to say one thing. I might be on Maelstrom Radio this week on Friday at twitch.tv/Maelstrom Radio. If I find out, I'll give some more information.
Yeah, I mean, it depends when this goes out. So
yeah, it'll be at Friday, though.
Well, it depends which Friday. Yeah,
next Friday.
Yeah, maybe we'll be lazy with it. You never know. It's going to mess with your information out, Ben. That's it.
Yes.
You can say something, Ben.
Yeah. You can reach me at Gaglaush, that's GAGLAUSH on Twitter. And shout out to you guys as always, Fonzie, Tim, who's not here with us, and yeah, that's it. Fantastic.
Cool. So yeah, that's another round done. The next of these will be the final 8 matches of this round, we believe. At which point we may do something slightly different in how we do it, but we'll get to that when we get there. Right. So until next time, taddy bye.